Hey there guys, welcome back to Just Chatting Football. Thank you so much for joining me. This is my first official video based on football content. I have done a little intro video to the channel, so please do check that out if you get a chance. This is my first official video. This is a big one, and it is my Premier League table predictions. There's going to be a few things in here that might surprise a few people, but hey, it's football. Anything can happen, and that is why we all love it. So let's get started straight off the bat, and we'll start right down the bottom. Now, the first team I think going down back to the Championship is going to be Fulham. They've got a great young manager in Scott Parker, but does he have enough experience to battle through relegation and see Fulham survive? I don't think so. They've got a few players that could make a difference. Mitrovic is always going to get goals, but I think there is going to be a heavy reliance on him. They've brought in Areola in goal, Tete at the back, but I just don't think there's enough quality in that side to see Fulham survive. So sorry, Fulham fans, it's back down to the Championship for you. Next up in 19th, joining Fulham down in the Championship, I have gone for West Brom. Once again, I just don't think there is enough quality in that team to see them survive. Got some great players. Pereira is going to be fantastic and he's going to be a key player, but there are a lot of players that are creeping into their 30s that might not be able to keep up with the pressures of the Premier League. Players like Charlie Austin, Robson Kanu, Jake Livermore, all into their 30s now and may start to drop off in quality of performance. So sorry, West Brom, straight back down to the Championship. I can kind of see you guys being a bit of a yo-yo team for a little while. That's just the way I see it. Sorry. And then finally, making up the final relegation position, joining West Brom and Fulham down in the Championship, I've gone for West Ham.
You're having a laugh.
There seems to be a bit of disjointment at the moment between the board and the team, unrest amongst the players, especially about that Diangana sale to West Brom. By the way, West Brom, great bit of business there, but still I don't think quite enough to get you into survival positions. Souček, it's being signed on a permanent, great business there, but nothing else has really happened. They struggled last season. They just about survived by about 5 or 6 points. I just don't see them doing it again, and so sorry West Ham, it's going to be a season down in the Championship for you next year. So who's picked West Ham to survival? I've gone for Leeds. Now I think Leeds are going to have a good start to the season. They're going to surprise a few teams. They're going to be attacking, they're going to catch a few teams out. I even think they might catch Liverpool out and maybe nick a win with their attacking football. So that could be a nice little surprise on the first weekend of football. Let's find out. So yeah, as I say, I think a few surprises along the way to begin with, but then they might just start to drop off, a bit like Fulham did last season. Came in, got in behind defences, great attacking play, but just couldn't keep that up throughout the season. Consistency dropped off. They tried to continue playing that way and fell away. Again, I think that will happen with Leeds. Survival for Leeds will be a great first season. Bielsa's a great manager. It's going to be exciting to see them. Let's see what happens. Next up, in 16th, I've gone for Aston Villa. Now, I think Aston Villa will survive this season. They have some incredible players, not just Grealish, who they rely on far too much, but you've got players like El Ghazi, Trezeguet, Huran, McGinn, who all have excellent quality. But the team seem to play it out to Grealish a lot. If it becomes more of a team aspect and less reliance on Grealish, I can see them picking up a few more points. They've got some great potential signings coming in. I'm hearing Martinez in goal, which would be fantastic. And bringing in Ollie Watkins, another great bit of business. He's definitely going to get a few goals. Not Premier League proven just yet, but great in the Championship. I think they're going to do enough to stay up. And I think they could even do enough to do a bit better than where I'm predicting them to be. Maybe even pushing for that mid-table, maybe creeping into the top half. Who knows? But for me, at the moment, I'm sticking with Villa down in 16th. Now the next team up in 15th position, I've got Crystal Palace. They have to be a bit careful. They didn't score many goals last season. I think it was something like 31 goals scored with players like Zaha. They've got Eze coming in. Batshuayi possibly coming in on loan, which would be a great move, and they linked up well a couple of seasons ago. So these players coming in, they should do all right, but it could go the other way. They could fall into their old habits and they could start to drop back down that table. They need to score more goals to stay in the Premier League. I think they might just do it. Now, just creeping away from these teams, I think in 14th is going to be Brighton. They've lost players like Moy, Murray, Duffy, who all have great experience in the Premier League. They're all players that can change a game as well, so losing those sorts of players could hinder Brighton a little bit. But Tariq Lamptey brought in at right back in January from Chelsea. Great signing. He's going to be a whiz this year. Can he put up with the physicality of the Premier League for a whole season? We'll have to wait and see. I think he can. It's going to be very exciting to watch. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on Brighton to see how he develops. I think Chelsea have maybe made a mistake by sending him off, but he was behind Reece James as Pilaqueta, so he wasn't going to get the game time that he so much deserves. So good luck to him. Good luck to Brighton. They've kept hold of Dunk. They've kept hold of Ben White, so they could form a solid partnership. If Brighton play with 3 at the back and then give Lamptey a bit of freedom on that right wing as a right wing back, we could see some great things. Next up in 13th, just creeping to the top of the second half of the table, I've gone for Burnley. Now, Sean Dyche has been performing miracles at Burnley for a number of years now. They have a very physical team. They have a lot of tall players, so great at set pieces. Their defence is solid. You've got Tarkowski in there. They've kept hold of Pope as well, so that is a big piece of business that they've done there. Even though it's not a signing, it'll feel like a signing because they've kept hold of a great keeper there. They genuinely could finish anywhere above 13th as well, somewhere between 13th and even up to 8th. But for me, the teams that I've put above Burnley have just got a bit more quality. They've got a bit more consistency about them. But, you know, Burnley have got players like Wood, Barnes, Rodriguez, who can all get goals that will make a big difference to the positions that Burnley will finish in. So 13th for me, Burnley. So next up, in 12th, I've gone for Sheffield United. Now, last season, they absolutely blew everybody away. I didn't think they were going to stay up. They didn't make any signings. Often you do need to make signings when you come up to survive. But Chris Wilder has created such a great team chemistry that every player in that team knows how he wants them to play. They look solid. They were great in attack. But for me this year, I don't think they'll do as well as last season. They'll definitely push to the quality that they were getting last season. But I think other teams that were in and around them last year are just going to be that bit better and will knock Sheffield further down the table. They brought in Ampadu, again, great signing. He was fantastic for Leipzig against Tottenham. I can see him coming in and dominating a midfield in a defensive midfield position. I can see him dominating in defence in a back 3. I'm excited by him. So if Chris Wilder can get him some minutes on the pitch, get him a few games throughout the season, I say a few games, I want to see him in nearly every Sheffield game, but we'll see. It's exciting times. Sheffield are going to survive for me quite comfortably, and they'll finish in that kind of mid-table block of teams. And making up the final position in the bottom half of the table, I have gone for Newcastle. Now, Newcastle have made some fantastic signings very recently. Callum Wilson coming in, Fraser coming in, Hendrick coming in. It'll be interesting to see if they bring anyone else in. But already they've got 3 great players that instantly improve that team. Mike Ashley has clearly had some sort of bonk on the head because he is investing in some very good players this year. He's giving Steve Bruce a bit of backing. I know last season he did bring in a few expensive players who didn't quite perform. Sometimes that can happen when you're bringing in players from other divisions elsewhere, not used to playing in England. And that definitely happened with Joe Linton. However, great signings coming in. I really see them doing well. They could even be pushing for Europe this year under Steve Bruce's guidance. I think a positive year for Newcastle is coming up. So Newcastle fans, keep your chins up. It's going to be a great year for you. Now moving into the top half of the table, in 10th position, I've gone for Southampton. Now, they do need a few signings, I think, to push into this position, but Danny Ings was in great form at the end of last season. It's not been a very long break between the end of last season and the start of this season, so hopefully he'll continue that form coming through. It's always great to see Nathan Redmond performing, excellent counter-attacking team. I can see Southampton really pushing this year and creeping into that top half of the table, maybe even pushing for Europe. Then finishing just above Southampton, I have gone for Everton. Everton, again, another team that have made some great signings. There was all this talk about teams not wanting to spend money because of the pandemic and the current climate, financial climate that's going on. Everyone's spending, like it's not just Chelsea. Everton have brought in Alan Decore, James Rodriguez, all great players, so it's going to be very exciting to see them. I don't know how quickly they'll come in and get integrated into the team. I'm hoping they'll come in and start firing on all cylinders off the bat, but let's see. It's exciting times for Everton. Carlo Ancelotti in charge. Nothing but good things for Everton, I don't think. So they're really going to want to be pushing back for Europe. I think they might just miss out this season, but again, who knows? These few teams between 7th and 12th could all be mixed around come the end of the season. So they'll all be pushing, and it's going to be a really great season to watch. Now, who have I gone for 8th position? I've gone for Arsenal.
It's not really disbelief, blood. It's expected now, fam. You understand?
Now, this is going to get a lot of stick, I'm sure. But for me, I don't know that Arteta will have improved the team enough to consistently perform. They certainly have started playing better under Arteta, but if they pick up a couple of losses, heads can drop in that team, and they could certainly go on a bit of a drought, as it were, and not pick up many wins for a period of time. That's my feeling, and that's why I think Arsenal will still kind of linger down and around in 8th. They did win the FA Cup. Congratulations to Anthony Taylor on that one. They did beat Liverpool in the Community Shield on penalties, so well done for winning that lottery. I know there's a lot of Chelsea bias coming out, but as I say, I don't know that the consistency is going to be there. Keeping hold of Aubameyang is going to be key. If they do that, which it does look like they are going to, then again, definitely could be finishing higher. They're not going to finish any lower than 8th. So I've gone for a very conservative position here for Arsenal. But yeah, I've got to put them somewhere, so I'm going 8th for Arsenal. I'm definitely going to be eating those words come the end of the season. So finishing in 7th and a potential European spot is Leicester. Another one that could go either way. They've lost Ben Chilwell, but they've brought in Castagne. Did I say that right? I don't know, but we'll go with it. Who is a great player, but he's more of a right back. I know he has played over on the left before, so it's going to be interesting to see if they do utilise Castagne over on the left back position straight off the bat. I think he could create a few chances for the team. You've also got Vardy, who was the Golden Boot winner last year, absolutely smashed in the goals. Do I think he can do it again? I just don't think he's going to hit those heights this year. But if he can stay fit, if Maddison can stay fit, Tielemans can stay fit, then they should do all right. Bring in a couple more signings. They could be pushing higher, but I think 7th is probably going to be Leicester's best hope this year. Now, next up in 6th, I have gone for Wolves. Wolves, I'm a little bit undecided about this year, but I think the fact they're not playing in European football this year will certainly help them in league terms. They've lost Doherty at right back, who was a great player, but Wolves are usually very good at their recruitment. They play exciting football. They're very good on the break, especially with Adama Traore, who I personally think is a better player coming off the bench. He definitely gets a few more assists and runs defences ragged when he is coming on when they are tired. But this year, I think he might start more games than he did last season, and he won't be as effective. I could be wrong, but it's going to be exciting to see. So Wolves in 6th. So next up in 5th place, and just missing out on Champions League football, I've gone for Manchester United, which might surprise a few people. They've brought in Van der Beek in midfield, which is a great signing. However, if he is going to be playing alongside Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes. Who is the defensive-minded player in that midfield? It just unbalances the team for me a bit if that is the three that they are going to be starting with. Perhaps Solskjaer's looking to hit teams early, get a few early goals, and then make some substitutions to become more defensive. I don't know. But they did win a lot of penalties last season. I know a lot of fans do say this about United, and United fans get a bit annoyed about it. There were definitely a few dubious penalties last season. Man United fans must admit that. They got a bit lucky with some of those decisions. So yeah, I don't think they'll get as many penalties this season, which won't see them score as many goals. So for me, United are going to be finishing in 5th. So, finishing in 4th position and just sneaking into the Champions League spot, I have gone for Tottenham. I do think there's going to be a bit of Mourinho magic this year. It's been great watching the documentary to see how that man works behind the scenes. Very knowledgeable man, knows his oppositions well. If Tottenham can be a bit more aggressive, if they can just absorb everything Mourinho brings to them, I do think that they can do very well this season. They definitely need to bring in a new striker option because as great as Harry Kane is, he does get injured a lot. There is an over-reliance on him. There is a bit of an over-reliance on Son. They've brought in Højbjerg, they've brought in Doherty, who are definitely going to create a bit more depth in the team, which is something that Tottenham are crying out for. I mean, look at last season when you had Kane, you had Son, Sissoko, all out at the same time. I think you had Ben Davies as well, was also out at the same time, and they were really struggling with their squad depth. So if they can add a couple more players, maybe another winger, definitely another striker, I can certainly see Tottenham doing pretty darn well and finishing in that top 4. And finally, we come to our top 3. Now, I've not mentioned Chelsea yet. Perhaps that's because there's a bit of Chelsea bias going on. There's definitely a bit of Chelsea bias going on, but I think Chelsea have made some great signings and are definitely going to be getting into the top 3. So in 3rd position, I have gone for Liverpool. And I know that is a bold prediction, but think about it. They've amassed, was it 198 or 100 and something like 190-ish points over the last 2 seasons, which is phenomenal. But last season, they didn't blow teams away. The media have created this kind of beast of a team that everyone should be absolutely afraid of because of the way that Liverpool won the season last year. But as I say, they didn't blow teams away. They won games very late on, which is the sign of a title-winning team. I do know that. That is what greatest champions do. They dig out wins when they're not playing their best. But for me, they needed to do that far too often last year. And I know it's the earliest any team has won the season, but also the latest any team has won the season. Thanks, Corona. But I don't think they are going to keep up those levels. They've not really brought any players in. There's talk of Thiago coming in from Bayern Munich. I definitely do think they need to add a couple more players just for a bit more squad depth. For me, it's definitely going to come down to that squad depth for teams this year. Teams with greater squad depth will definitely have a bit more advantage. Games are going to come thick and fast. The season is going to be squished slightly. There's the potential that, this coronavirus could affect more games later down the line, especially as we approach winter. Who knows? So squad depth is going to be key this year. So for me, Liverpool haven't quite added that, and they are going to finish in 3rd. So now we come down to the final 2 teams. We have the Blue of London against the Blue of Manchester. Who have I predicted to finish first and win the Premier League? Is it going to be the mighty Chelsea? I think that I am going to put both teams up at the same time here. And I think the winner of the Premier League is going to be Manchester City. I think Chelsea have added a lot of quality to their team. Their squad depth is absolutely phenomenal. We certainly need to be sending a few players out now. We've sent a few out on loan. We need to sell a few players. But what a great transfer window Chelsea have had. Roman has backed Frank. He's brought in the players that Frank feels will increase the quality in this team. We've certainly done that up top. We definitely need to do that at the back. I mean, we've brought in Thiago, fantastic player. He's coming into a new league. I think he's going to be a bit surprised about the physicality, but who knows? He's certainly an older player. He's 36. He'll certainly improve our defence, and our young defenders will be able to learn a lot from him. We've brought in Chilwell at left back, which is definitely an upgrade on Marcos Alonso. No offence to Marcos, he's great going forwards, and if we're playing a wing-back system with 3 central defenders, he is a perfect player to have because his attacking ability is fantastic. However, he's not so great defending, and Chilwell definitely has better defensive play for me than Marcos Alonso does. So a great signing at left back. What we do need to do is address the keeper situation. I think we'll certainly bring a keeper in, and there's talk of Mendy coming in, which will be great. He's taller than Kepa by a few inches. He's definitely a bit more commanding than Kepa. Kepa definitely struggles with commanding his box, and whether that's because he's just lost all confidence or whether that's just because he can't play like that, who knows? We would definitely had our heads held over a barrel when we had to pay his release fee of 70 million. He is not a 70 million pound player. Sorry, Kepa. I really want to back you. I really want to support you, but you've got to move in goal. You can't let balls flap through your hands and stuff. So we'll bring in Mendy. He'll certainly create competition for Kepa, but I don't think Kepa is going to be one for the long term. I think his number is up, and we'll be looking to move him on in the next few seasons. So yeah, for me, some fantastic signings. Very excited to see Werner and Ziyech, Havertz coming in. Great to see these players coming in. Great to see Frank being a big part of attracting those players. It's going to be a great season. It's going to be exciting to watch. We must give these players a bit of time to settle in. I know Havertz has only just kind of joined up with the lads, and we've got a game coming up very quickly on Monday with Brighton. So we might not see him start the game. Maybe he comes on a bit later. Or we do see him start the game and he'll be taken off a bit later, just to kind of integrate him a bit more into the team. But Chelsea fans, be patient, give these players a bit of time, and I'm sure 5 or 6 games in, we'll see some great attacking play, some great attacking cohesion, and plenty of goals. So that leaves Manchester City winning the title. I think they're going to be hungry for it. I think Pep is going to really get into his team and make them want this. They've lost David Silva, but Foden coming through is a great young player. He had some phenomenal games last season. If he can just kind of settle on a midfield and create a consistent team lineup, then City will absolutely smash this, I'm sure. They've brought in Ake at the back, who it's going to be interesting to see if he can take that step up to a big team like City. Will he cope? Who knows? I'm excited to watch that and see how he develops. So yeah, for me, winning the Premier League this season, I've got Manchester City. Right, that concludes my Premier League table predictions for this year. I'll be very interested to see how it all plays out come the end of the season. I'm certain I'm going to be eating some of my words for some of the teams that I've put where I have put them. I'm starting to maybe question my Arsenal prediction, but I'm sticking with it. Let me know what you guys think. Get down in the comments. Let me know who you think are winning the Premier League. Let me know who you think is going into the Champions League the following season and who is going to be relegated. Thanks so much for watching, guys. That concludes the end of my first official long football-focused video. If you do want to join me on this journey, then please do hit the subscribe button. Please do hit the like button. Get down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Please do take care, guys, and I will see you in the next video.